The wind howled like a crazy dog. Rain poured down, turning the streets into rivers. Lightning flashed, lighting up the empty street for a second. Emily fought against the wind, her umbrella broken and useless. She was soaking wet and shivering. She needed to get out of the storm, and fast. Out across the street, a faint light flickered. A sign, hard to see in the heavy rain, swung above a shop. Curious, Emily braved the wind and ran across the road. As she got closer, she could barely read the sign. Antiquarian books, it said in faded gold letters. Emily paused. She always liked old books, their smell and the promise of forgotten stories. The thought of a warm, dry place was too good to pass up. She pushed open the heavy wooden door and stepped inside. Warm air and the smell of old paper and leather greeted Emily. The storm seemed far away, the only sound a crackling fire. The shop was small and dusty, with shelves piled high with books all the way to the ceiling. The air felt heavy with untold stories. Behind a big dark wooden counter, an old man sat reading. He looked up as Emily entered, his eyes twinkling in the dim light. His face was covered in wrinkles, each one telling a story.
Well, well, a lost person looking for shelter from the storm. Come in, dear. You're soaked through.
Thank you. I got caught in the rain.
The old man pointed to a worn armchair by the fire.
Come sit, get warm.
Emily gratefully sat down, the chair sighing softly. The heat from the fire slowly warmed her cold fingers.
I'm Silas. And what brings you to my little shop on such a night?
Emily hesitated, not sure what to say.
I saw your light. I needed to get out of the storm.
Silas chuckled, a low rumble in his chest.
Shelter you shall have, dear, but perhaps something more.
He slowly stood up, moving surprisingly well for his age. He walked towards the back of the shop, disappearing into the maze of shelves. Emily watched as Silas returned, carrying a big leather book. He placed it on the counter in front of her. The cover felt cold and smooth.
The symbols. They look so familiar, but I can't read them.
Strange symbols, impossible to understand, but somehow familiar, were on the cover. The book seemed to hum with a strange energy that gave her chills.
This is no ordinary book. It holds secrets, child, the secrets of everything.
He looked at her, his eyes staring into hers.
But be careful, knowledge comes with a price. Are you willing to pay it?
Emily felt a thrill, a mix of fear and excitement. The book seemed to call to her, promising hidden truths. She reached out, her fingers tracing the strange symbols.
What price?
She whispered, her voice very quiet. Silas smiled, a slow, creepy smile.
That, child, you will learn soon enough.
He wrapped the book in a piece of faded velvet and gave it to her.
Go now, and remember, being curious can be dangerous.
Emily found herself back on the street, the storm strangely gone. Holding the book tight, she felt like someone was watching her. As she hurried home, the book suddenly felt heavy, like a problem, not a gift.
Why does it feel so heavy now?
Reaching her door, she fumbled with her keys, her heart racing. She thought she heard a whisper in the wind, her name echoing in the empty street. Turning slowly, she saw him. Standing at the end of the street, hidden in shadow, a figure watched her. Two evil-looking points of light glowed from the darkness where his eyes should be.
Oh, no.
Emily gasped, dropping the book.